All right. Well, good morning, everybody. It's been a while since we had a coffee chat. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Jamie Pasquinelli. I am the ULI Pittsburgh District Council Manager. ULI Pittsburgh welcomes you to our third WLI coffee chat. As always, thank you to our sponsors that make our programming possible. ULI's mission to provide leadership in the responsible use of land and in creating and sustaining thriving communities worldwide is even more critical as we respond to recent global events. As a charitable 501c3 nonprofit organization, we rely on our members and supporters to fulfill that mission. We thank you for your support and your continued engagement as we tackle challenges together. Please make sure you have your mics muted throughout the program to prevent any distractions. Also, we will be engaging in a Q&A after the presentation. Please insert your question in the chat at any point during the presentation, and we will then ask you to ask your question on camera if you would like. If not, that's fine too, I can read it. We want to do something a little bit different today. This time, we wanted to invite those of you who would like to engage in after program hallway chat to just network and catch up. Please feel free to stay on after the program. We would love to talk and catch up. Also, Christina said that she would, stay on for a little bit and answer any questions that you may have. Since we are talking about social media today, I would like to ask all of you to give us a follow on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook for any up-to-date information on programming and content. Also, we're trying to increase our reach. So anytime that you would like to share our post or comment, we would really appreciate it. So I will now hand it over to Dusty Kirk, who is our WLI chair. Dusty?
Thank you, Jamie, and thank you all for attending today. It's really great to see this many people coming to our WLI coffee chat and to see some men in our group. So I really appreciate that as well. So, we have amazing WLI members, and one of them is Mascaro and Alyssa Kunzelman, and she got us this wonderful speaker from her company, Christina Falvo. And Christina Falvo is really a social media expert. She's the proposal manager at Mascaro, and her role, she oversees all the social media platforms. She takes photos, she designs their ads, she creates videos. She can do it all. She finds templates. Hello? Can you still hear me? She does the cover letters, she does their website, and she manages all the proposals, and she really helps them get business. So she's a graduate of La Roche. She has a degree in graphic design, and you will see that when you see her video, her presentation, because we did a little rehearsal and I just got one little sneak peek at it, and it looks amazing. And she has a minor in communications, professional writing. And when she's not working, she likes to read, paint, draw, and binge watch TV. And don't we all now? So what else is there to do? And she chills with her husband, and she has a parrot. And she writes, obviously. She has self-published a women's literature novel and is currently working on other writing endeavors. So before I turn it over to Christina, I want to tell you that I have to go to a zoning hearing today. So I'm going to be watching the schedule, and if I duck out before Christina's over, it's not because I don't think her program's great, it's because I have to go do my day job. So I just wanted to let you know that, and thank you again for being here, and I'm going to turn it over to Christina now.
Okay, thank you, Dusty. I'm gonna go ahead here and get the screen shared. So now you can all be tempted by this delicious looking coffee that I wish was sitting next to me. But let's go ahead and just dig into social media. So why is it important? It's definitely gearing up, especially now in 2020 when we can't really go anywhere. So I'm gonna click over here, we're gonna get into some stats. So apparently worldwide, 3.5 billion people say that they use social media. That's 45% of the population. And of that, 68% of the people are on Facebook. So Facebook is still #1 as far as social media platforms go. LinkedIn and Instagram are following behind that. And as different generations come up and into the workplace, that's going to shift. It's my understanding that right now, kids in high school are more engaged with Instagram. So at some point, I'm sure we're going to see a shift in what demographics on what platform. So then here are just some more information. The average person spends about 3 hours a day on social media. And as far as the different generations go, 90.4% of millennials, and that's ages 24 to 39, they're on social media. 77.5% of Generation X is on social media, and that would be anyone from 40 to 55 years old. And then the baby boomers make up 48.2% of the people on social media, and that would be anyone from 56 to 76 years old. Additionally, marketers, 73% of marketers are finding that social media is successful in their business endeavors. Now, all of these statistics are from 2019. I'm sure if we were to run this again and get new statistics, these numbers would be way up. Just based on following the analytics that we track for Mascaro Construction, the difference between the first quarter and the second quarter of the year, our social media jumped up just a ridiculous amount. And I think it's because people couldn't really leave the house. They couldn't go anywhere. You're craving social interaction. And the best way that you were able to kind of connect with people were through these social media platforms. So now it's more important than it ever was before. So additionally, it offers some great opportunities. Not only can you attract people to you, but then also it gives you an opportunity to interact with them. Depending on the posts that you're sharing, they can comment on it, you can comment back, you can start building new relationships, and that gives you an opportunity to convert them, which would be, maybe when COVID's over, you finally get to meet up with someone for a coffee or for a lunch. So social media is kind of a powerhouse as far as making connections and networking. It also offers free advertising. So you don't have to really pay for anything. If you want to pay to boost any posts or anything like that on Facebook, you can. But really, it's giving you an opportunity to just put yourself out there. And then also, it helps boost your relevancy on search engines. There's definitely a connection between, how often you post, what you're posting, what kind of engagement you're getting with other people, your responsiveness to other people. It kind of helps push you up the ranks as far as a search on Google would be. And then it gives you an opportunity to expand communication. So it's more than just a phone call, an email. You're putting your ideas out there. You're giving people a chance to see what you're like, what you're into. So it's kind of a new venue for communication. And then it also can be used to validate you as a thought leader, which is also very important. So let's get into what kind of platforms are out there right now. And there's more than what's listed here. These are just the more popular platforms. Facebook is great. We've got LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, and Snapchat. So let's kind of get into what matters on each of these platforms, kind of maybe help give you an idea of start thinking of how could I use each of these platforms to best suit me. Maybe there's certain platforms that would work better for the message that you're trying to get out than other platforms. So Facebook, it's more comfortable, it's more fun. Based on the analytics that we do here at Mascaro, people love videos on Facebook. They seem to get the most traction. Facebook also gives you an option to go live, which means that while you're actually at an event, you can turn your camera on, go live. People will be seeing what you're seeing. I've seen this work great for the one real estate agent that I know and I'm connected with on Facebook. She uses it to kind of set up chats or go over concerns that people might have about mortgages or things like that. And then people that follow her on Facebook will get a notification that, hey, she's on and talking. You can go and check her out. You can comment while she's talking. She can respond to what you're questioning, things like that. So it's kind of a great little avenue. Plus, the more you engage and interact with people on Facebook, the more you tend to show up in their news feed and you continue to stay relevant. LinkedIn tends to be a little bit more professional. They're starting to encourage hashtags on LinkedIn. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that platform. It's great for networking, job searches, finding new people in the area. And then we also now have Instagram. Instagram's gaining in popularity. It's more visual centric. It's great for, you know, showing great photos. Again, very hashtag heavy. And it's kind of important when you're on there and putting in a hashtag, maybe check out and see, you know, you can see how many times that's being used elsewhere. So the higher amount of times it's being used, the more likely you are for someone to find your post, because then you'll be joining in what's trending. Twitter, you're kind of limited on what you can say on Twitter. Again, very hashtag important as far as showing up and being relevant. With Twitter, I will say it tends to be a little bit more political, tends to be a lot more news tracking on Twitter. So it kind of depends, you know, you really have to view each of these platforms and take into consideration what might work best for you. YouTube, obviously it's very video heavy, but it's also a great platform if it's something that you like. If vlogging is something that you want to take up, you can definitely gather an audience and people will look forward to what you're posting. I know right now, my husband and I are both vegan. We're really into watching cooking shows about being vegan. There are several different people that put up videos at least once a week that he's subscribed to their station so that anytime they put up a new video, we know that we can go and watch it. So it's kind of like you have to take into consideration, you know, if you want to take the time to be creating videos, you know, plan out what you want to say, but it's a great platform. Pinterest is kind of interesting. That platform has photos that other people have shared that link to other websites, or you can even, you know, create your own pins on here. It works in a process where you kind of pin these different pictures and websites onto boards. And as far as this could work in business, I would say that when I worked at WTW Architects, the one architect that was there was a leader in library planning. So he would actually direct librarians that he met to go to his Pinterest page because he would always pin the most interesting, newest technology that they offered for different libraries. I also, there's an author that I read, and she's actually using Pinterest in an interesting way that I don't think I would have considered. She actually creates boards for each of her novels, and then she'll pin things like a dress that's blue that she talks about a character wearing, and you can go and see what her inspiration was for when she was writing that particular character. So it's really a well thought way to use Pinterest. Snapchat, again, photo heavy. You get the photo for a second, it disappears. Depending on the person's settings when they take it. Snapchat does offer that you can purchase or design your own filters. It kind of depends on how you want that to work for you. I know Mascaro had tossed around using it. We decided it probably wouldn't suit us, but it does offer cool things where, like for instance, for a day, Taco Bell would pay to run a filter where you could turn yourself into a taco. Or you'd have an option like, say, Mascaro's building something out at Carnegie Mellon. Anytime a student or anyone with Snapchat would get near Carnegie Mellon and go to open up their Snapchat, one of the filters available to them could have been like a Mascaro hard hat, and it could have said like build with the best or something like that. So it's really like knowing what each of these platforms do, how you think that these might best work for you. So now let's get into some resources. Calendar to plan ahead of what you're going to say, because once you're on a certain social media platform, you want to try to stay consistent to when you're posting. At Mascaro, we tend to post once a week. That's what we aim for. We don't want to post too much. You don't want to get annoying to anyone. So we kind of plan out, you know, what we're going to be doing. So we've got this broken down. I don't know if you can really see it here. The far left, that's the month. It's broken down into quarters overall. It's then into the weeks, the individual days, and then there's a whole color coding set up to this. Everything right now is blue because it's already been posted, but you know, things show up in like a gray color if it's a holiday, or a green color if it's about careers and construction. So this is all color coded. I would recommend, if you're gonna really take your social media seriously, you might wanna start thinking ahead about what you can say, just so you're staying relevant and staying on people's news feed and then also on their mind. So also just some good little websites for free resources. Free photos that are also royalty free, which is important so you don't get in trouble for using them. Pixabay and Pexels.com, they have a wide variety of photos and also video that you can use for free, and it's searchable. It's both of them are great websites. Also, if you want to get into creating videos, you can use PowerPoint. I feel like most people have PowerPoint. It's pretty easy to use, putting slides together, and you can export things as a video. Another great resource is Adobe Spark. Now, because of me being at Mascaro, we do have a license to the Adobe Creative Cloud, which gives us access to Spark. When they first introduced this program, anyone could access it for free. I think Adobe realized that this was a powerhouse and that they should be making people pay for it. So now you have to have a subscription to it if you don't already have Adobe Creative Cloud. They were offering a 2-month free trial because of COVID. I looked yesterday, they're offering a 2-week free trial, and then you have to pay, monthly, or if you want to sign up for a year. But I'm going to say this platform is amazing. It's online. As you can see, I've taken screenshots here. It's great because anything you design, like say I start out designing a photo for Instagram. Instagram requires a square layout. I get everything designed, I lay out my text, it looks great, and oh man, now I need it for Twitter. Twitter's layout is a little bit more rectangular. I just have to click a button. It automatically readjusts everything to the appropriate platform. So I think that first off is a great option. The next thing is they give you template ideas. So you actually become a graphic designer without having to pay for a graphic designer. They've got great layouts. They give you access to free photography, free video, free audio. You can go and build things in here, and they kind of help you along and recommend things to you. So it's definitely a great option. And that's the other thing that's great with Spark. It's not just like posts, it's not just pictures. It also allows you to do video. It also allows you to do these great websites. It's all very user-friendly, just, clicking and adding in photos, adding in text. And then also it's got a great section with articles, the people that are professionals that are using Spark, their recommendations, how to best use it. They'll send out emails like once a week that give you the newest and latest things that you can do on there. They're constantly giving you great ideas on how to utilize this program and how to get out there and reach people. The other great thing about Spark is it allows you to create branding. So this is a screenshot inside the Spark that I have set up. It's got Mascaro's blue, it has our font. It's, everything's laid out. We've got our logo in there, and all of these things that you're seeing on the screen, Spark designed those for us. So say we needed an ad all of a sudden, we could click one of these that we like, we could go in, change out the photo, change out the text. Oh, we're going to have an outreach program for small diverse business. They've already got the perfect size laid out option. We just need to go in and customize it a little bit more to make it ours. So I highly recommend Adobe Spark if you're going to want to really get serious into your social media, even like on a personal level. It's great. So also because of COVID, and social media is extra important right now during COVID, there are some things to keep in mind that are coming to the forefront. And one of the big things is empathy. People want you to be relatable on a personal level, on a professional level. They want to know that you get them. And really at this time, it's pretty easy to be empathetic and to be relatable because we're all dealing with the same thing right now. We're all, working from home, homeschooling children. This is really a time to embrace empathy and try to show it in your posts. It also kind of is helpful. It's good for business. It's also good personally. You're kind of showing yourself to people. You're creating loyalty. You might get some referrals. Kind of gives you a competitive advantage depending on what other people that are doing at the time. It also expands your engagement because people, you're relatable. People want to get to know you. So just some examples of how empathy kind of has worked for Mascaro. I will say when we went into COVID, us trying to post weekly got scary. We didn't know what to say. We didn't want to offend people. We didn't want, anyone to get upset with anything that we were putting up there and what was the right thing to say. So the very first thing that we put up was a thank you to all the healthcare professionals. Everyone felt that. Everyone felt they were going above and beyond. There was nothing, no one could argue with that post. And then it kind of got into, Throwback Thursday. Nobody wants to be doing what we're doing right now in 2020. Everyone misses the things that we used to be able to do. And so we kind of geared in on that kind of idea. And one of the first Throwback Thursday videos that we did was for Heinz Field. We had great footage that had been taken when we were working on the South Plaza of like the construction underway. And while that project was being worked on, fans were in and out for concerts and for other events. So we had this great footage of, wow, wouldn't it be great if we were all at Heinz Field right now? That's where we all wish we were at. We could be tailgating, having a beer, catching up with friends. So that video performed really well because everyone wished that that was where they were at right now. And then we followed it up the following Thursday, Take Your Kid to Work Day, always on a Thursday in April. And we couldn't have it this year. We had to cancel it. We were kind of devastated. It's a great day. We have food for the kids. We bring in ice cream trucks. It's a good family day. And so we had put up a video about missing that we missed our family here in construction. And we were able to share some photos of the people that work here with their kids at home, you know, playing with Legos. You know, their kids are working on their laptops next to their parents. So it's anything that you can kind of put up to show that, you know, we're in here with the trenches, we're battling through. And then also, aside from empathy, also taking a stand has come forward as something that people value. Now, it's also a little bit on the dangerous side, depending on what you're gonna put out there. You have to be willing for some, you know, potential feedback that you may not be willing to get into, or arguments that you might end up getting into that you don't want to be into. So you really have to think from all sides before you're putting something up there to take a stand, is to like, what could people potentially say? What could I put up that they might take the wrong way? And also in consideration with this, you might want to think, you know, yeah, I'm putting it up on my personal account, but I work somewhere. Would what I'm putting up as my own stand and how I'm wording it, is that what the company I work for would want to see? In most chances with this taking a stand, you know, people actually were hoping, you know, during this, everything that was going on, that companies were going to take a stand and show what they believed in. You know, hopefully it generates a healthy and respectful dialogue. You know, it can strengthen your community and your connections with people, and you're showing yourself to be vulnerable, which, you know, people tend to appreciate when you're willing to put yourself out there. So now let's really get into using personal media to increase professional presence. And I'm gonna say a little short story here, a little preface to this. So I was designing this presentation and I was kind of in one direction, then I got redirected, and I ended up having a conversation with Jamie as to, you know, I don't want people to sign up for this presentation and think that they were gonna get something out of it and then not get what they wanted. And I've signed up for plenty of webinars where I thought I was going in there to get one thing. That didn't happen, and then I'm like severely disappointed. So hopefully I'm leading all of you in a good path and you're learning something here today. But I'm gonna say, I had the conversation with Jamie, and she said that this stemmed off of a conversation about why women weren't really quoted a lot in articles, and you know, what could we do to change that? And I'm gonna say, I had this conversation with her right after watching Justice League with my husband. So because of COVID, we've been binge watching everything, and we binge watched all the Marvel movies because we had never seen all of them. And we'd kind of been caught up with the whole Batman, Superman situation. So he suggested the one night that we watched Justice League. And he said, oh, do you remember what happened in the last movie, which was Batman versus Superman? And I said, yeah, Batman and Superman got in an argument, and then Wonder Woman had to fly in and save the day. And then I said, come to think of it, in Marvel, the same thing happened. All the characters were arguing, and Captain Marvel had to fly in and save the day. And then I went down a path of, you know, if a comic book community can figure out that, you know, women have important things to say and important things to do, when is everyone else gonna catch up to that? So that was my little piece on that, which, you know, a little bit later in the presentation, I'll echo that a little bit. But let's just get into, you know, getting ourselves on social media, getting our presence out there. So first, have you Googled yourself on social media? Because that's important. Just as a little test here, I Googled myself, and oh good, my LinkedIn account is first, because I know there are other Christina Falvos out there that are not me. So it's important to go and look and see, like, when someone looks up my name, what are they seeing? And as an example to this, we had someone that was gonna come in and do communications for us, and they were supposed to be a social media guru. So the first thing I did was I went out and I went and looked for them on social media. I found their LinkedIn account and they had a picture in the profile box, and it was just a close-up shot of them. It wasn't a professional photo. They didn't have the big banner photo across the top. They didn't have any other information. And I had a moment of, so you're going to come in and tell us how to communicate and how to use social media, but you don't even have your own personal page up to date. So I think it's kind of important. Get out there, type your name in, see what comes up. What are people going to see when they look you up? It's important. Make sure you complete your LinkedIn profile, and the same goes with any of these platforms. If you're going to use, Facebook, if you're going to use Instagram, make sure your profile is complete as you can make it. They want a picture, you put a picture. They want a description, you give them a description. So just to kind of give you an example of like your LinkedIn, as far as cleaning it up, that headshot that's in the upper right corner, the upper left corner, make sure it's new. Make sure it's just you. It should be professional. I've seen people that put up a whole group of people in that photo. That's great, but that's not you. Like, people are going on here, they want to see you. This big background photo. I'll admit, I just recently updated my LinkedIn account, and I think it was maybe 2 months ago that I decided to really overhaul it, because I had started being contacted by people about social media, and I thought to myself, how bad does it look if they go and look me up on LinkedIn and I haven't completed this profile? Because my LinkedIn account's not my stronger of my social media platforms. I tend to not use it that often, but I thought, you know what, I better go clean up my act if I want people to see me as a professional, see me as a thought leader. So right now my background is a photo that I had taken. I'm obsessed with birds, so it was fitting. I will say, in retrospect, when I have time, I would like to go back in and fix that. I just read a really great article about kind of using that space as almost like a billboard. So you can pull out some great stuff about yourself, or, kind of design it however you want. And I think it's a great idea to use that as a billboard. And also, with having Adobe Spark, I'll be able to go in there and create that easily. And I feel pretty confident it's going to look pretty awesome. Additionally, this headline section, I'm going to say, when I first had my headline in there, it just said proposal manager, because, well, that's my title. That's who I am. But it doesn't have to just be your title. You can make it fun. You can make it more descriptive. You can make it longer than what your title is. Right now, mine might be a little on the funny, corny side. It currently says jack of all trades, master of none, mediocre at best. That's something I say about myself all the time, but really, as a proposal manager here, I'm not just doing the proposals and the get work effort. I'm designing ads, I'm taking videos, I'm editing videos, I'm retouching photos, I'm taking photos, I'm interviewing people. I mean, my job is so much more than just proposal manager. That headline area is a place where it gives you a chance to say who you really are. Additionally, the about section. For years, my about section was a sentence. It said, I graduated from La Roche, I had a major in graphic design, I had a minor in professional writing. That was the end of it. This section allows you to put a couple paragraphs in here, and really, this is your place to shine. You get to talk about yourself. It's all about you. You get to show your personality. It can be conversational. It can be fun. So I definitely did an overhaul. My about section's totally different now. Kind of highlights how I ended up where I'm at in my life and the different things that I'm into. The other important thing with LinkedIn is the skill and endorsement section. This is where you get to show the things that you shine at. Now they have an option where you can take a quiz that'll kind of see how much you know in each of the programs and grade you. Also, people that you work with can come and endorse you for various skills that they feel that you have. Another great thing is, if you want some people to endorse you, you can go to their LinkedIn page, say that they're good at some stuff, and hopefully that prompts them to come back and make some recommendations on you. And also, another great thing with LinkedIn, they allow you now to add in media. So if you've done any ads, you've done any videos, you've published any articles, your profile on here is like the place where you can really shine, show who you are, all that you've accomplished, make you really seem to be the thought leader or the person that you want the world to perceive you to be. So become a thought leader. You really gotta be vulnerable. You have to put yourself out there. Got to be willing to kind of take some criticism. The thing with becoming a thought leader, you want to share articles. LinkedIn has that option where you can publish articles. If there's, magazines or websites that you frequently read what they have and you like what they're saying, you can put that out there. If you have, ideas, you want to make a blog, you've got that kind of, you can plan that out, make a blog, make a vlog. I mean, YouTube doesn't just have to be about silly cat videos and music videos. I mean, there's professionals on there that are recording their thoughts and they have their own following. Again, with any of these things, just kind of plan it out and be willing to put yourself out there. With being a thought leader, it only takes two people. It takes you got to be the one that's willing to get out there, put yourself out there. And then you need that other person to come along and say, hey, that person knows what they're talking about. And that person will almost become like a champion for you. And male allies matter. So in going back to what I initially said with my Marvel comic book and everything else, and I have to say that in this world that the male allies still matter. And I know there's some men on this video and, they can help us out. I'm going to say I've walked into conference rooms where it's been all men and they don't want to take me seriously because I'm a woman. I might not know what I'm talking about, but I will say that I definitely, and even as an example, I'd walked into a meeting, it was all men. We had a big discussion. I really didn't talk, it was mainly one person leading the meeting. And when the meeting was coming to a close, it was the president and CEO that turned and asked for my opinion first. And from that day forward, my opinion was respected. It was like people were seeing me in a whole new light. So male allies definitely matter. Also, as far as becoming a thought leader and having, people start to recognize you, I can almost guarantee that everyone that's on this call, except for maybe Alyssa, because she works at Mascaro with me, you probably have never heard of me. You had no idea who I was, and it took Alyssa looking for someone to lead this social media presentation and someone that sees me as a thought leader saying, hey, you know what? She knows social media. She's done a great job with Mascaro. You should ask her to do it. So this is what I'm saying. It takes you to be brave enough to put yourself out there, and then it takes other people to see that you know what you're talking about. So then just some additional thoughts, and this was more based on, women being seen as professionals, getting their names out there, getting published in media, just based on, office life and things like that. Let's not be catty with each other. We should be raising each other up. We're strong. We need to do that. You need to keep in mind that, if you're willing to put other people down, you have to question why you feel the need to do that. Like what insecurity do you have that you're willing to kind of put people down? The other thing is being stupid isn't cute. I've definitely been in meetings with other women who come in and I know they're smart and I know they know what they're talking about, but the minute they get in a room with a bunch of men, they diminish themselves and they kind of start playing off that they may not know what they're talking about, and they don't have the confidence in themselves to just, speak up and say what you want to say, what you're talking about, just be strong. The other thought is, and this goes across the board for men or women, if you're using your social media as a professional platform, you want to be taken seriously, maybe avoid the sexualized posts in any way, shape, or form. I will say that there's a real estate agent that I follow on Facebook, and one day she puts up this post here, and what it says aren't those hills beautiful? Nobody's looking at those hills. This is your professional real estate account. Why are you putting this up? Any credibility that you had, any chance you had at being a thought leader, you've now put this up there and you've kind of tarnished and ruined all the hard work that you put in. So really, that's the conclusion to my presentation. If anyone has any questions, you have any comments, even if you want any feedback, just kind of a discussion, feel free to share whatever you would like.
Nothing yet in the chat, but I had a question, Christina.
Yeah.
You had mentioned, social media in what you're posting. Now, what are companies doing in regard to policies? you familiar what that sort of whole realm looks like?
It depends on company to company on what they're going to do. I can say from Mascaro, you know, we like when our people are on social media. We encourage them to share our posts. We encourage them to like all of our pages, to interact with us. You know, interacting with us on Facebook, it helps us to appear like we're creating community. That's really important right now on Facebook. It helps the algorithm. It helps you stay at the top and stay in people's news feed. I will say though, that if you've got Mascaro listed as your employer, you really just need to think what you're putting out there, that you're representing that company. So it's not so much that they don't really tell us not to put things out there. I think it's more that they're hoping that we know well enough, like what to put up, how to interact with people so that we're not making them look bad. We're not making ourselves look bad. I mean, it's really on a company by company basis, but I really feel like a lot of companies out there are probably the same way. They don't really want to restrict what you're doing, but they're hoping that what you're doing is making good decisions and that also makes them look good too.
Yeah.
And I really think that that's something that people need to keep in mind when they go out on social media. You know, if you're going out there and you're attacking people and you're making racist comments and you're saying things, you know, that you've got your own opinions, you really need to think first, you know, I work somewhere. What would these people think if they saw what I was saying? I mean, we put up a post for Mascaro the one day and, you know, it was an innocent post. And next thing you know, people were making comments about, you know, why did we post this? Why were we respected? Like it just, the things they were saying, and it was on LinkedIn, which I feel like is a more professional platform. They were almost trying to get into a political debate, which was like, this was not the place, nor was this a post that was really political to begin with. They kind of took it the wrong way. They took it the way they wanted to take it almost so that they could start a battle. So it's like, just kind of think before you do things that, you know, who's going to see this? Because it wasn't just Mascaro seeing that. Anyone that followed Mascaro would have seen their comments. Well, how do you now look to all the other professionals that are on LinkedIn? So it's just kind of think before you do things.
Karen had a comment. Karen, did you want to talk about your comment or do you just want me to read it?
No, I can talk about it. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Benner. I'm brand new to Pittsburgh, and so I've been spending a ridiculous amount of time on LinkedIn networking and getting connected with folks. And one of the points I wanted to make about LinkedIn that is really different, completely different than all the other platforms, is that what I like and comment on will show up in the feed of my connections, even if they're not following that person. So, so this is really different, and it's been good for me. I've become aware of a lot of organizations and people that I'm seeing my connections liking and commenting on, and then I'll start following that. And so the key point I want to make is that I try to be very generous with the like button to support people that I want to help gain recognition. And I'm very appreciative when other people like or comment on my posts, because I know that that's going to be more exposure for me. But at the same time, I will say that I have made some connections in the past couple months that then I see that they are liking or commenting on things that are of a political nature or a social nature that I don't agree with. And then that turns me off. And so it can kind of work both ways. And it's just something to be very mindful of for those folks that are not as familiar with LinkedIn. Like if I like a friend's post on Facebook, my friends that don't follow that friend are not going to see that or ever know about it. But LinkedIn is very different in that way. And like I said, it can be a positive and a negative.
Right. And that would just really be something to keep in mind when you're out there, because again, you know, everyone that's following you on there is going to see what you're doing, like your every move.
I believe Dusty had a question next.
Hi, Christina.
Hello.
I'm back, and unfortunately I missed doing my zoning hearing. I missed part of your presentation, but I have been encouraged a lot to use Twitter.
Yes.
And I don't know if you talked about Twitter while I wasn't on here, but I am really concerned about using Twitter for the reasons that I think you said and
Right.
Karen just said. So I just wanted your opinion.
Yeah, again, with any of these platforms, you really have to think about how best is this going to work for me? What can I do to make this work for me? I feel with Twitter, I harbor those same fears that you have. I have a Twitter account because when it came out, oh, it's a new thing. I had to always have like the newest and the best social media platform. So I signed up for it. I never really used it. And I feel like what it started as and what it's kind of turned into over the last several years, it's not really a platform that I would want to be on just because it's kind of a toxic platform. I just think that there's so many chances on there for someone to say something and it go the wrong way or it turn into something that you don't want it to turn into. And I feel like it's become such a political and news heavy front that it's not something I would want to pursue. I know I have a friend that's trying to get into writing, and all the writers are telling her that she needs to be on Twitter because I guess like agents and publishers will post to Twitter a lot. But it's one of those things like I'm not sure that I feel like it's kind of dwindling at this point. Like, you know, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, those are the like heavy hitters. Twitter, yeah, it's attracting people, but is it the right kind of people that you would want to be attracting? And is it really going to work for you as well as what the other platforms might work for you? Especially with Instagram, it's really kind of taking over, especially when the younger generations are really heavy into Instagram. The thing with putting the photos up, it's kind of even transformed more from that. They kind of give you the ability now, you can put multiple photos up. So people are using it to build stories and tell stories on it and things like that. And Instagram, you know, it's kind of great because you can attract people like Twitter from all over the world, but tends to seem, at least from my perspective and my account, seem to attract like-minded people. So it's really, I mean, if Twitter is where you need to be based on your profession, take it into consideration, but I would still be weary of it just because I think it's a dangerous platform.
Well, that's the same reaction I had to it. I'm on Twitter, but I never post anything for the very same reasons that you just said.
Right. And I feel like with any of these platforms, it's always really thinking out what you're going to say and all the different ways it could be taken wrong, because that's the society that we're in right now. It's not so friendly and easygoing. So yeah, just always keep in mind what you're putting out there that, oh, geez, I thought this was innocent. Now someone has taken it the wrong way that I did not mean.
Okay, we have another question. Andrea, did you want to ask your question?
First of all, I have to figure out how to, no, no, go ahead.
Okay, Andrea wanted to know if you could please talk more about how one can use LinkedIn to develop a reputation as a leader.
Well, really, it's definitely making sure that profile is up to date. And then also kind of how Karen was talking about as far as, you know, the things that you put out there, what you want to be known for, what articles you're reading that you find interesting. It's sharing those articles, it's engaging with, you know, other people that share the interest or whatever you want to be known as a thought leader for. It's kind of finding those articles, writing those articles, reaching out to those people that have the same interests, following those people. It kind of, you know, you put in the effort in, and it's kind of gonna help you out as well. But really, completing that profile is very important. Being able to write articles on there and kind of showcase what you're good at, I think that's really going to help you. The different people that are on there and who you attract, that's going to help you. If you even, and here's the thing, so people writing blogs kind of, or doing a vlog, that kind of can help put you into a position of being a thought leader. And the thing is with blogs, I know we've had discussions about it, and the thing that's intimidating with blog is you've got to have a topic, and then you're going to have to write something pretty consistently so that, you know, not to the point of being annoying to people, but you need to keep putting up something so that you stay relevant. But one thing with a blog is it doesn't always have to be your idea. You could read a really great article and think, hey, this is great. You could put it up as a blog and start a discussion with other people. Well, what do you think of this article? And even doing that on LinkedIn, you see a really great article. It's something that, you believe in. It's something that you want to be known for a thought leader in. Maybe you read the article and you put some of your own ideas up at the top of the article and then ask other people, hey, what do you think? It's like the best way to get people to interact with you and give you a chance to comment so they can see like, hey, she really knows what she's talking about.
Is there, you keep saying blog and vlog.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm ever going to do a vlog. That's not going to happen. But is blogging something different rather than just posting?
Blogging is having like your own separate, it's almost like its own separate platform where you write down your ideas, you write articles. There's different websites and things that offer where you can do a blog and then you could direct people to it. It's almost
and I'm really just talking about using LinkedIn. Should I try to post an article once a month? Should I try to post an article multiple times a month? Should I share articles on a regular basis? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, you would really want to post on a pretty regular basis. And it's really one of those things you might have to kind of see what works for you. I've found if I post something early in the morning on a Monday, everybody's seeing it. If I post something in the afternoon on Wednesday, nobody really is looking at it. Like, you're going to have to kind of test the waters and see when you post something, who's seeing it, what's happening. And for LinkedIn, yes, I would recommend put up an article, be it one that you've read somewhere or one that you've written for on there. Put it up and ask people, what do you think? In the hopes that you're going to get people to kind of engage with you and comment. It's kind of like the more interaction that you can get on the post, the more relevant you're going to be, the more likely you're going to be to show up on other people's news feeds so that you're able to get yourself out there. So you're going to really have to see once a month is probably not enough. Once a week would be great, but are you going to stress out trying to find that perfect article? What do you have time to maintain? Maybe every other week you put up an article. It's really kind of building that plan and then going from there. That's why, like at the beginning when I said about resources, about having a calendar, it's really important because there are certain things that happen all the time every year. For instance, just based like with the stuff that goes on here at Mascaro, we know, every May normally would be safety week. Well, they moved it this year to October. Every April's take your kid to work day. Like, there's certain things that happen in different industries and just in life in general that, like, Halloween's always in October. So you kind of like whatever you want to do, you kind of want to plan it out. If you start the calendar, that can help you, especially if you're going to write your own articles. You can kind of plan better. Having to search for articles, that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge, but maybe there's a certain topic that you want to tackle. Maybe you're able to find an article that fits that topic. It might not be new, but maybe it's the first time other people have seen that article and you're kind of bringing it to their attention.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Great. And I don't know if everybody saw in the chat, I said if you would like to drop your social media links or your LinkedIn profile, please do so. We can follow you and build our network. Any more questions? You know what, Christina, I had one more question.
Okay.
I think that hashtags are so important, and maybe you could, you touched on those, maybe you could explain those a little bit more and how they could help us and how to look at those.
Okay. I mean, it really depends on the platform as far as how easy it is to see what's trending and what's working. I know on Instagram, the minute you start typing a hashtag and start typing a word, it starts generating, did you want to say this? And this has been used 2,000 times. And, like Twitter, you can go on and search a certain hashtag to see how much it's been used. I think sometimes when you start typing it on there, it might give you an idea of, you know, what's being used, how often it's being used, what's trending. Why these are important is there's people that follow a certain hashtag or will look up a certain hashtag. And like, for instance, on Twitter, something will become a hashtag on a Tuesday. And next thing you know, it flies off the handle and everybody's putting up this hashtag and now it's trending. So now it's everywhere. All the news stations are picking it up. So it's what you're putting at that hashtag. It needs to be relevant to what you're putting up. It has to, you know, be representative of that. And then you also want to see, it's almost like you kind of have to do some research before each post to kind of see what are other people seeing? What are people putting up now? For instance, kind of a corny example, but Thursdays being hashtag Throwback Thursday, inevitably there's still people posting on Thursday an old picture or something like that. It's kind of seeing what's out there, what's working for other people. I know like on Instagram, you can go on and you can search by those hashtags. It'll pull up people that have posted pictures similar to yours. You and that person might have something in common. I know on my own personal Instagram account, I put a lot of pictures up of the food that we're eating. It's hashtag vegan. Next thing you know, I've got people that make the vegan food following me because I've mentioned them in the thing. Now I've got other people seeing me as like, oh, she makes vegan food and it actually looks edible. And it's like, so you're kind of like putting up hashtags and you're attracting people that have similar likes, similar interests, you know, similar opinions on things. So it's almost like you kind of have to do some research on those hashtags because anything can be a hashtag. It's just how many people are out there following it. You know, you might start typing it and it's only been used 100 times. Chances of other people seeing it, that's not as good. If you can come up with a hashtag that has more views, it's more likely you're going to be seen. And when people are searching that particular hashtag, they're going to find you.
Yeah. Usually for ULI posts, I use hashtags to organize things. I know that sounds like really weird, but there, like when you click on it, it's grouped together. Like there's hashtag ULI PGH, hashtag ULI Pittsburgh. All of our posts have that in it on Instagram, but there's also hashtag WLI Wednesdays. So whenever I post to that, you can just click on that hashtag and you can see everything that I post in regards to that. So for me, the sort of like organizational freak I am, use hashtags in that way as well. So thank you so much for that. Anybody else have anything before we depart the formal program? Okay.
I just want to thank you again,
Yeah.
Christina. Thank you so much for your expertise and for willing to do this for us, your willingness to do this for us. And
Yeah, no
Alyssa, thank you for volunteering your
well, when you mentioned it, I didn't want to self-promote, but I knew that she would obviously do an excellent job and it would be relevant to, I think, everyone here professionally and personally. So I thank Christina for agreeing to do that this morning.
Yeah, no, not a problem. Thank you. Honestly, I enjoyed kind of getting ready for the presentation. It's a topic that I love and I'm in it all day, every day. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Glad to have you.
Yes, thanks.
So if anybody wants to stay and chat, we'll stay on for a while and catch up, or, you know, if you have kids to educate today, we understand. But it was great seeing everybody.
Good to see you all.
Good to see you all.
Great to see everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.